Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collector podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, welcome to TFYLP episode 520. We are live tonight. Monday night, March 6th. Rick, what are you doing?
I don't like the way my hair looks. So I don't.
Well, no, that's fine. You're like some background noise we got going on here.
Yeah, it was the noise that was bothersome, not your antics.
Oh yeah, it's
Right.
just my fat settling.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if it's just the fat settling, it's good. I just wanted to check on you. Anyway, I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Rick somewhere.
I'm not happy with my hair tonight.
And Anna.
Hello.
And Paul.
Robosen Paul engaged.
There you
You
go.
wish.
Robosen.
So Rick's having a bad hair night tonight, I guess. We've all been there, right? I know I have. So.
Lucas, you did put Robosen in the title. I see it now.
Every day.
Ugh.
Wait, what? I did?
Yes, you monster.
Well, we've been having lots of
Monster.
conversation over the weekend about Robosen and, how we're all super excited that they're announcing more figures or something, right? So
Very
Yeah,
excited.
We're straight stoked.
I cannot price of that Bumblebee.
So my question with I guess Rick left us.
Rick is gone. His hair was that bad. It ate him.
Could
Rick, are you
hungry
back?
Yes, I am black.
His hair
Okay.
spit him back out.
So I guess the news is that Robosen has announced yet another figure. If we're not familiar with Robosen, they are making the robotic Transformers Optimus Prime. They announced a trailer. I guess they have some other robots from other properties. Right?
Oh yeah,
So
we're being
is the
inundated
topic-
with ads for Robosen of people selling their products, pretending to sell their products for 4 years before this whole thing even happened.
So let
Well,
me
yeah,
ask for clarification.
they were
tonight,
selling them.
Lucas, is tonight's topic Robosen, or is tonight's topic has licensing gone too far?
It's has licensing gone too far, and you know what, Rick? That's actually probably a better title than what I came up
Oh,
with.
it
I need to
is.
consult you.
No, the title you put up was pretty bad, but
I'm so sorry. This is
I
what
came up with a
happens.
perfectly good show pitch for tonight too. And Lucas was like, "Let's talk about Robosen."
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we
it's
can
not
do it.
like
We can do
I'm
this through the
creative
lens
manager
of
a
Robosen.
$2 billion
Right.
brand or anything, so don't ask me.
Well, I know. See, this is why I need Rick consulting on all of my,
No, we can
show.
definitely start with Robosen though, because Robosen
Well-
is
Here's a hot tip. Don't
Okay.
hide your crypto under your mattress.
Okay, got it. So Robosen was kind of like the thing that started it in our cast chat as we were discussing this with some of the other cast members, such as Nick, who unfortunately could not be on the show today, because he was traveling. But I really wanted him on because he is essentially saying that Robosen is the downfall of the brand, and this is where they've jumped the shark, and all this type of thing. So, yeah. But Rick, I know you've been heavily involved with all of this in the past with your roles, so I wanted to get your take as well.
So here's, I think the title describes it best. What I just said. Has licensing gone too far? Is there such a thing? With Robosen, I think it's a no-brainer. It's a robotic. This is the start of. It's not quite AI. It's AI a little bit because it's understanding commands and it's reacting to commands. So it's a little bit of AI. This is the start of integrating the next level of technology into a product. It happens to be Transformers. It happens to be where it works best. Star Wars also did it with a BB-8 that you control using a watch that you put on your wrist, and you move your wrist and it'll move backwards and forwards. It's making its way into our toys now, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Where licensing doesn't make sense is stuff like Bushido. And it's good that because we have Paul on here who's a big fan of these. We have Anna, who's, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed, but she can be opinionated. And then you have me, who just, Hasbro's sole goal is to make so much product that I just throw my hands up and give up and say I'm done. But as of today, that has not happened. I don't think that will ever happen. Despite things like Kiss Players and Bushido, I'm still going strong.
Well, so my question, Rick, is that for your collection, is anything that has Transformers on it essentially eligible for the like? Is there any line that you're drawing in your collection where you're like, nope, like I don't need that?
There is one line that I drew. One. Only one. Well, I guess you could say two. The first one being Animorphs. And Animorphs are not Transformers, despite what the packaging says. They are not Transformers. When Star Wars Transformers came out, I started to get them, but I mean, the quality is just awful, and they're not designed by the Transformers or Takara teams. So to me, they do not qualify as Transformers, despite what the packaging says. As far as actual legitimate, we can attest that this is a real Transformers product, that I have drawn the line and said, no, yes, there is one product. There is one item out there. And it is that Headmaster Fortress Maximus that was remolded to be the stereotypical caricature like of the Japanese representation of how people used to draw Japanese people in the 60s and 70s. I have an Asian wife. I have Asian kids. And to me, that dog don't hump. But that being said, should I come across it at a reasonable price, I will bow to the Transformer Overlord, and I will indeed purchase it.
Now, you've been a total prude about Kiss Players in the past. So do you not own the Kiss Players stuff either? Do you have that?
I have every Kiss Players figure there is.
Well, there you go.
I understand where it comes from, and we've had this discussion many times, but it is not for me, nor do I care to display the female caricatures that come with the toys. Those remain in the package.
When I finish my display, I'm going to have to show it to you. You'll love it. I put the packages front and center. They're beautiful.
I think it works for you, and I think that's beautiful. And I love that you can revel in this. But for as a 44-year-old man 43. Yeah, I'm 43, I think. 40. We're not sure. I'm a 43-ish year old man with 2 daughters. I just am worried that someone's going to come into the room and see them and get the wrong idea. And I just don't need that out there. I don't need that pressure.
Now, was this with the Bushido, whatever Optimus you're saying?
Shojo.
Bishojo, whatever it is.
The JJ Optimus, yes. Which, yes, I do own.
Good.
At least you will soon.
It's sitting in the basement, untouched. Opened it from the box, looked at it, said, "Yup," put it right back down, and there it shall stay forever and ever, sealed in her plastic coffin.
That's pretty quick turnaround.
Most items have a quick turnaround. Open box, look at, put down, forget about for 10 years.
Well, I more meant the transit to your basement.
Oh, well,
But
that too.
Well, so, the reason I wanted to bring up this topic, I mean, not necessarily Robosen. I know, Paul, you've, have gotten their products and, thought it's pretty cool. But just in general, that when this came up about when they announced the Bumblebee, I feel like it was like kind of more of a, several members of the cast were like, oh man, another thing I have to get. Like, no one seems excited by it. They all seem like they're like, all right, well, guess it's another thing to add to the pile.
I think that initial reaction though is due to the estimated price.
Did they give an
Because
estimated
Robosen
price?
is not cheap.
Okay, they did
I disagree.
Not. We're making it up.
I disagree. The fact that it's a bum out to most people is that Robosen was showing all this cool stuff it could do. The point that made it pretty amazing was that it transformed on its own and not just turned over and, put it, got in an ab crunch and was done. And this toy does not do that. And it just looks dopey. Now, that being said, we haven't seen anything of what it can do. They didn't just make a statue that goes like this, okay? Like, it must be interesting on some level that we have yet to see. And I'm not trying to defend it, because I am very much like, yuck. I am not interested in this. The promise of Robosen seems like it went backwards, like a whole mountain slide downwards with a one screenshot look at this thing. It just looks like the red figure on like a mix between Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Red Bumblebee right now, and that sucks. And it looks like it's at least a foot and a half. It might be bigger than the Robosen Prime, but it doesn't turn into a Volkswagen. So what's the point? They have yet to sell us on it and tell us anything about it. So I don't know.
Well, see, that's where you and I differ greatly. Because, to me, even a high-end item does not need to transform. A high-end item, to me, does not... Any item, whether it's a high-end, low-end item, it doesn't need to transform, because Transformers have transcended the product. They are no longer about the transformation. They are now about the characters.
We don't need that argument. I'm well beyond it needs to transform to be called a Transformer. But if it's a fucking transforming robot like the last one we saw, which blew everyone's mind, how is this going to blow my mind? We don't know yet.
With you, Paul, on that. It's not mind blowing, right? Voice activated moving robots have been around in one way or another for a very long time. They haven't been this nice before. This will be the nicest one we've gotten as a Transformers character, but they have been around. Now, the thing is, though, you could have kind of told the future on this, because Robosen has, if you go to their website, they have 2 flagship products. One was their transforming robot, and the other one was their non-transforming programmable robots. And this is probably just that wearing a Bumblebee suit. You know, like they'll have the voice be some actor from Bumblebee at one point or another. They'll have it do some Bumblebee things and say some Bumblebee lines. And otherwise, I have a very strong feeling it's just going to be their non-transforming robot dressed up as Bumblebee. That thing ain't cheap.
Well, maybe like Rick said, it'll have some AI components, and that would be impressive. If it sounds like Dan Gilvezan, and you can talk to it like a chatbot, and it can like say almost anything, and it like learns as you. I mean, that's a totally different story. You know, like that's something new. That might be cool.
That would be really cool.
There was a Deadpool head that Hasbro put out that didn't it have like 300 different lines or something? I wonder if anyone ever got that.
Yeah,
I'm
those
curious
products
to compare that to this.
Those products are obsolete now, though, bro, because like AI it doesn't need pre-recorded jack shit. It can like talk to you. You can tell it like I hate you, and it can be like, oh, that's not nice. Would you please not hate me? You know, like stuff. I had Cheetos today. They're like, oh, cool, orange dust is awesome. I love it. You know, like it can connect.
Well, yeah, but
to a larger.
We haven't connected those dots quite yet. You know, where you don't have the Chat GPT in a robot yet. Like I'm sure it's
but
coming.
it's going to happen very quickly.
Right.
Well, I mean, how cool would that be? And I'm purely speculating at this point, like because now they can all they need is the reason I came up on this is because what Rick was describing is also cool, but it's like it's very obsolete compared to even 2 years ago because it is limited in what the responses can be. Now it can respond to anything, and it can sound like almost anyone too. So you can license your voice, and you don't have to record anything because it just can emulate it, and it can not. You don't have to pre-record stuff anymore.
So
it'll actually have sort of a sentience. No, not really.
So James Earl Jones has licensed his voice for Star Wars. He is retired from the role, and now it is purely done by AI. And Bruce Willis, who unfortunately is dealing with dementia, has licensed his likeness and voice to be put into future programs once AI is at that level.
That was actually debunked. Bruce Willis did not actually do that.
Oh, well, my apologies. But
we're not too far off from. I mean, like what you're describing, it's a reality. It's a real thing.
Right. So I mean, that's what I wonder too. Some of these Robosen products. I mean, these are pretty expensive. And so, I mean, I guess on one hand, buying this, like, it's kind of cool to get the initial thing, but like, 5 years from now, is version 2, version 3 going to blow this out of the water where you're like, oh, well, what am I going to do with this original doorstop over here?
Right. Is it like Masterpiece? Who's looking for MPO1 when, there's 2 other versions of it that are much better.
Right. Yeah, so I mean that's where I kind of feel like too. The other thing, you had brought up about Sphero and the Star Wars licensing, right? And I feel like that's a completely different thing than Robosen, right? Because the Sphero stuff was like $150, I believe. It was on the shelf at Target, and you could just run to the store and buy it. Where the Robosen figure, I mean, it's what, $1,000 for the big one now. I think $750 for the smaller one for the Optimus, and then whatever. We don't know how much the Bumblebee.
Yet. And the trailer is another $700 on top of that.
Right. And so like that's a
crazy.
Significantly like just that's a completely different market than your average consumer. You know, I mean, these are like high-end collectors are getting this, or, you know, again, like the argument that I've made is it's really trying to reach into a completely different market of people that aren't actually collecting Transformers at the moment.
Yeah, I think the statement that our buddy Nick was kind of, you know, he was just blabbing, you know, but I think he stated like that this kind of product damages the brand because people fly away, like, you know, there's flight or some sort of thing. Where I think you and I agreed, Lucas, there's no such, you can't do that. You can't. Some people just don't buy something. They don't suddenly throw all their stuff away unless you come out with like Nazi Optimus Prime. That's a different story, you know. Right. But it's
a different story for today.
The question is, do I draw the line at Nazi Optimus Prime?
You better.
Let's hope. I knew I shouldn't have said that. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, I feel like the market
does the Nazi Optimus speak in German?
Yes. And he's our first liaison to the aliens.
Right, yes. Oh, that's horrible.
But I feel like the market of the Transformer collectors who collect everything is not that large. And I mean, I feel like those people are, you know, as much as you say you're going to leave the brand, like, I don't know. I kind of feel like, you know, it's like a sunk cost at this point that you're like, well, what else are you going to do?
Are you challenging me? Is that?
Yes.
What else am I going to do? Is that a challenge? Because there's plenty of He-Man figures out there I don't have. I could become the Rick Alvarez of He-Man. So there are. I look at the Robosen stuff as like those high-end statues. There's a certain group of people who only collect those statues, right? Yep. So it's not something that you can easily acquire. It's not something that the general public knows about. So in that sense, yes, you know what? They make sense. Continue to produce them. Okay, so the Bumblebee doesn't transform. To me, or rather to maybe Paul, it's not exciting. He's not sold on it. To me, it's Tuesday. Right? And it's like, all right, I guess I'm buying that instead of a chicken coop this year. Right?
No, there's
tons of other high-end things come out all the time for Transformers. People just horse blinders them and don't see them. Like, I don't see any. No one I know owns a Prime 1 Studio statue, unless you two, Rick. Because I don't think I know anyone else that even considers those. I don't own any.
I thought Lucas collected those too.
No, not the Prime 1 Studios. I had the Imaginarium art ones, but I had the smaller statues. They were a little cheaper. They did have higher end statues as well that were like the Prime 1 Studios line.
Is it had? Did you sell them?
No, I still have them.
Oh, okay. I heard a past tense.
No.
What about the scooter? How many of y'all bought that Megatron scooter? Megatron banded scootsy thing.
It's not that I didn't try. You know,
was it limited?
Okay, so I want to get back to the point I was making, and it ties into what Anna just said. There are people who collect just those statues, right? There are people who collect those statues who don't give a flying F about Transformers. They just collect high-end statues because they consider it art. And they'll have it next to their Hulk or their Deadpool or their Green Lantern, whatever. There's people who look at the Robosen and go, that's for me. I don't care that it's it could be R2-D2, C-3PO, It could be Groot. I don't care. I'm gonna get it. That's up my alley. And that leads me into Anna's point. The other day, I went to buy the Transformers Apple Watch wristbands. I couldn't get them. They sold out instantly. Couldn't get them. Now, I don't own an Apple Watch. I don't need an Apple Watch. But I would like to have the Apple Watch wristbands. But I don't. Because I couldn't get them. And that goes right into the Transformers keyboard thing, for the clackety-clack keyboard from the 1990s, and the little button caps. I'm going to be competing with a million people to get those. A ton of people who don't give a flying F about Transformers. But they're computer geeks, and they want that for their custom-built computer. And that's who I'm going to be dealing with those guys. So continue to slap your name on everything, whore yourself out, have sex with everybody. You're only young once. Get that money while you can, because there is no such thing as an evergreen brand, as Star Wars has clearly shown us.
What about those artisan keycaps that we were looking at like last week? Those are some interesting products.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the keyboards.
Oh, same company.
The Transformers branded keyboards.
No, same company, Anna.
Are those limited products, like, or was it intentionally limited, or did they just not keep up with their anticipated demand?
They're called artisan. Of course they're limited.
I think they're limited, but they're also playing to a niche market of people who are modifiers, computer guys. They don't care that the Transformers people don't get them. They're playing up to the guys who are guys, girls, people who are modifying their computers. That's their audience that they know. That's why they licensed it, because they're appealing to that demographic. If someone like me is able to buy one, it's pure luck, because all those other guys have the inside scoop on where and when and how to get them.
I hope they use them and get stabbed by Bumblebee's horns every time.
There was, and I think I've talked about this before, there was a licensed item that got really far into production. And then Aaron Archer found out about it. And he shut that shit down quick. So, I don't know how. I don't know why.
What was it?
There was a company that was making speakers, like 2-foot tall speakers, out of G1 Megatron. And they prototyped them. And we were ready to pull the deal, ready to go in production. And Aaron saw it, and he was like, what the F is this? We're not doing this. It should be Soundwave. They said no, it's Megatron. Aaron had the deal pulled. That's looking out for your brand. That's protecting your brand. All right.
I'm curious if anyone is doing that today, or if they're just rubber stamping anything that comes across.
I think they're maybe a little smarter about it, because I haven't seen anything that's rubber stamped. Can anyone here give me an example of something that's been rubber stamped? That's not made for a child. Something that's high end. That's rubber stamped.
That makes no sense.
Scooter?
What was that, Anna?
The scooter?
The scooter
bikey thing.
Anna. The scooter. You are correct. The scooter.
It just felt really weird, and it's just like it feels like it just has Transformers stickers on it.
I will say the furniture, because it's just generic bar stools and bar tables that are slapped with the Transformers iconography rather than making the tables the actual faction symbols, or making the back of the stools the faction symbols, or making the seat cushions the faction symbols. That stuff, I think, is rubber stamped.
And we're going to see a lot of random ass licensed product in this year because of the movie, right? There's going to be everything Transformers.
Oh, I'm ready for it. It's going to be a race between me and Peter. It's going to be a race between me and Peter, whoever can out Destron. That's what it's going to be.
I am curious. I haven't asked Peter
thing.
because he's tried to scale that back a little bit with the movie stuff, and I'm curious what his thoughts are on the licensed stuff versus the movie figures. I know Nick usually is in it to win it for a lot of that licensed stuff as well.
I am going to do a line of Coke every time I go shopping, just to put me in that mindset to just be like, oh yeah, Transformers lip balm. Let's do it. Let's buy the whole case so we can get the display stand. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's exciting for you.
Yeah, Beast Wars kid shoes, size 3. Oh, look, there's a size 4. It's technically a variant. It's a different product. I gotta have it.
What do they do? Bumblebee bananas. Bananas go bad.
But not the sticker.
Okay, you just keep the sticker. You don't keep the bananas.
I keep this. I have plenty of food. I still have, the Hostess food from 2007 all sealed up. M&M's, Doritos. So don't challenge me, Anna. I'm loco. I am loco.
How's your wife? What does she think about all this, Rick?
I remember I went to BotCon. Oh, no, it wasn't BotCon. It was OTFCC. Oh, fuck. Remember Oh, fuck? And the guys at Hasbro, they see me, and they all sort of, giggle to themselves. They all sort of just chuckle to themselves. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And they give me the sign, hey, come over. Come over. All right. So I go over to the Hasbro booth. And they drop off. Oh man, it was maybe half a ream of paper. And they're like, "This is every licensed good in the world. This is a list of it. Have fun." And they just kind of laugh at me. Challenge accepted.
How far are you into the list?
The list was
scratch them off.
We have them obviously I can't get everything, right? But at least I have the list from that year of everything that was available worldwide.
There you go.
Start, I suppose.
I want to see that list.
Yeah, it's buried somewhere. I have it though. I keep all the paperwork. I have all the papers. All the papers.
So Ryan says that he would buy a Robosen Headmaster Don. So there you go.
No, you know what's going to happen is, I guarantee the next Robosen, it's not going to be Megatron. It'll probably be Optimus Primal, right? And it'll have big gorilla action.
Okay.
BGA, big gorilla action, or BGE,
I would imagine
gorilla energy.
I would imagine the next one's going to be Hot Rod or Scrapper, since they've already made those. Because, I think you were alluding to that, Anna, that they existed before Robosen as a brand existed, because it used to be called Sen Power. That's where the Sen comes from. And it was funny, I tried to bring that up to the marketing guy from Robosen at TFCon in Chicago, and he's like, don't know, never heard of that. And I'm like, right, I'm sure. So, because that was the Chinese company, and they were making if you remember, there were videos of Robosen Optimus like in a prototype stage, like for 5 years before the thing was available. That's because a Chinese company was just making it, and I don't think it ever got to like final production, but before the licensing deal happened. But they reorganized into Robosen. But that company had prototypes of a fully transforming hot rod. It looked amazing, and a scrapper that was even green. The whole thing was done. If you look around, you can find those videos. They're still out there. But I would just think like that's what I was expecting next, not this. I mean, it's good to be surprised. I just wasn't expecting a non-transforming robot, I guess.
Yeah, that was the surprise for people, is they just thought it would all be transforming robots and not just. And I think it is literally just the fact that they were like, well, we have that other thing that we've already made. Let's just put a Bumblebee on it and we'll be good. And I think you're right. We'll probably see the characters they've already made back in the past again. Nicer, more refined, more expensive.
You know what? I take it back. I bet the next character is probably something like Wingblade.
Probably what?
Probably going to be Wingblade.
Maybe.
It really turns into an airplane that actually flies.
You know what? I was just thinking that it's only a matter of time before there is a Robosen-like figure for Transformers that ab crunches and folds over and can lift up in the air.
The drone. That would be amazing.
Only
a drone
matter
would be
of
pretty
time.
cool.
I think we're less than 5 years away from that.
That would be the next jump, the next technological thing. Like, because if you say they're hitting other enthusiast groups, drone enthusiasts are an entire industry that's growing every day. Some people even make them deliver groceries.
So, is there anything that Hasbro could do with the licensings to go too far, I guess, or at least like in the vein of like what they've already done, where you're like, this is too much?
Oh, I hate to say it, but maybe more cars. Where they, there's the Camaro, and I don't think they've produced a Bumblebee Camaro since the second film. An official Camaro. They still make the add-on parts. But I don't think there's been an official Camaro. Like, making more cars would be quite the annoyance to me.
Well, they can't really do that anymore if they keep doing, like, prequels, right? Because those cars aren't in production unless... I mean, Porsche is really pushing this Carrera as a Mirage, but, like, it doesn't really help them for... What are they going to do? Show their new Porsche in a color scheme that's similar to Mirage, but it's not the car? It's like,
yeah,
it's
what
Porsche,
if they do? What if they do an officially licensed Porsche or Bugatti? Would you? What would you do then?
You can't have it all, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. That's what keeps me collecting year after year after year. 10, 20 years from now, if I'm still alive, I'm going to find things from G1 from 1984 I didn't know existed. That's the beauty of this line. There will always be something to get. It will never end. The hunt will always exist forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
If you needed to, yeah.
Well,
The hunt
there's still
ends
new stuff
when
being
I'm
found
dead.
all the time.
The hunt ends when I'm dead, and I may just tell them to cancel the line after I die. I mean, their revenue is going to go down.
That's true.
Watch that stock price, right?
Right.
Rick, are you okay?
Collector Rick Alvarez has passed away. As their stock prices fell by 50%. There seems to be an influx of plastic in the world.
Far cry from that double of profit, thanks to the death of one Rick Alvarez.
So the selfie series
we have
from
many
Hasbro. I'm thinking about the selfie series. And for those of you who don't know, the selfie series, I don't know if it's actually called that, but they take a scan of your face and they poorly print a representation of you that they mount on an official Power Rangers or G.I. Joe or Marvel figure. Do they do Marvel, or is it just G.I. Joe and Power Rangers?
It's everything that has a human.
Okay.
A human buck.
All right. So at what point do we do that with Transformers? And is that too far? Where they take you, they digitize you, and make you into a robotic version of yourself? Is that too far?
That's way too much work, Rick. They're just going to take it and put your straight up human head on this bumblebee body, and it's going to look really stupid, and you're still going to buy it. That's all they got to do.
It's not going to fold up right. Because I have a
all they got to do. Fine, they'll make a more
so.
hollow and crappy robot for you.
I think they'll have to make something new for that to work, like a toy that's specific for that, which would still be so weird. Or if they actually made Pretenders, and I don't know how they will ever do that correctly, but if they did, you could potentially get like a Pretender shell with your face on it, which still sounds so dumb, but I'm kind of glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't jump into that right away, because the coolest thing to me would be like they make an Optimus Prime that has a head that is. They'd almost have to design the toy for this specifically so that the limitations of the head, the proportions look right, and it still can transform. So you don't end up with like a really small or giant head. But it would be best if they could figure out a way to like take your face and then like sculpt the angles of it to sort of look correct, and it's still a robot. But I don't know how good that would look. Didn't they do a Michael Bay head on an Optimus Prime, Rick?
We did a kid for the first movie. He won a contest and he had his head. I mean, it kind of looked like him, but that was 2007. Things have changed since then.
Well, what if we got Rick's head on one of those Bushido Optimus Primes?
Really? You don't think I'm a bumblebee?
There you go.
I would have thought his fupa would have been more conducive to my body. No, I mean, is that the next level? If somebody do a Bushido print with their head on it, or bronies. You put your head on a My Little Pony. And now that I say it out loud, I think there probably are people who would want to do that.
They made a whole line of ponies in the Shojo series, so you can just have one of those with your head on it. They were humanized ponies. They weren't ponies.
Right.
Well, they were both.
Right.
Anyway.
The anthropomorphic ponies.
Yes. That's another direction. Like, it took forever for Transformers to land in the Bushojo line, because that statue line has been going for a very long time. And they did G.I. Joe ages ago. It just took so long for them to get around to Transformers. I actually never thought it was going to happen at this point, because they've done, a bunch of series that make sense, and they've done Freddy Krueger and other horror characters. They've done all sorts of stuff to finally get to Transformers. It kind of surprised me.
Why do you think that they took such a long time for Transformers?
Well, Transformers I mean, we've never really had, except for maybe some Bakon Club exclusives based off one episode of G1, humanized versions of our tier A characters in toy form. Right? There's the episodes where, the animated characters become human in a dream in Soundwave's mind or something. But, I mean, we've never really explored that. So,
Anna, before you answer
this is new
Lucas's
territory.
Yeah, it is. Before you answer Lucas's question, Anna, I think you're the person to do this. Can you give us an explanation of what the Bishojo, what that means? What is that?
It's just cute girl versions. It's pretty girl anime versions of various characters throughout the years. They've done everything from actual anime characters to Street Fighter characters to horror movie icons. Now Transformers. You can get yourself with the Shojo Beetlejuice. Right? It's a fun one.
Yeah, there's Jason Voorhees. There's the Ghostbusters. Anna, I'm curious. You don't find this line, offensive at all?
I do a little bit. Yeah, sometimes. It's really weird. Like, they've really, it's all the same company, the same base artist. Some of the figures are a little bit, they're a little bit too much. Like I wanted a good figure of Scarlet from G.I. Joe forever since I was a kid. And I passed up the Shojo figure so many times because it felt wrong. Just seeing her with that hyper feminine, super ridiculous body type that doesn't actually fit her character just felt completely wrong to me. But like the My Little Pony ones have been like super tasteful. Like they're really pretty and they're not weird and over stylized and they don't have gigantic gross breasts or anything. And then the Transformers ones, like they don't feel bad to me, right? The designs feel not that offensive. They're kind of pretty.
I will say that the Transformer ones seem less risque than I remember the Jason Voorhees or the Ghostbusters one in particular where the ass was hanging out the back.
Yeah, the horror movie ones, which I think kind of fits with horror movies, right? Like horror movies are outlandish and ridiculous, but the horror movie ones went the furthest with the body types. Yeah,
am I like the only cast member that doesn't have that thing?
No, Christian avoided them too.
I was gonna say it's barely on my radar, and then you guys are all like showing off your Bishojo Optimus Primes here.
Yeah, that's actually Microcaster's next episode.
Right?
Should be.
I like this kind of thing. I mean, I jumped on these because I just like this will stand out on a shelf of like. If you're a character collector, this kind of thing like really is awesome for you because it has something that doesn't look like the same old thing, but it's clearly Optimus Prime, and that's what a character collection evokes. It's like it's like a spread of similarity, and the differences jump out.
But it can go into the Atari Scream.
All right, so here's my rebuttal to that. It sticks out on your shelf. Great. When someone comes over and sees your display, what's the first thing they're going to see? Are they going to see all the robot Optimuses that have been around for 35 years? Or are their eyes going to go straight to the scantily clad girl?
Well, I don't think she's scantily clad, so it's... I don't think... If it was... Is there a... I still can't say it right. Bushido or whatever is that? It's not that's a brand name, right, Anna? It's not like an overarching style.
No, it's an overarching style.
You're avoiding the question.
Are there levels more extreme than Bishojo? I guess what I'm trying to say. That has another name.
Yes, I think you're probably getting at. The term Bishojo doesn't mean that it's risque or overly sexy. It just means like pretty-ish. I'm not some sort of Japanese scholar, but
there's other types of things that I've seen, and I call them sticky statues. that's my personal name of them. They are not Transformers related. They're more anime centric.
My husband
This
has a
is
name
not
for
what I would
those too, and
call.
it's even worse. But yeah, I goes along with it.
Sure.
No, they're not.
I wouldn't.
Some
This
of
is
them
not
kind
a.
of are.
If,
The horror movie character ones kind of, they fit more into that like really ridiculous proportions and very suggestive poses. But the Transformers ones are tasteful. The G.I. Joe ones are tasteful. They're just, their figures are not what they are. You know, even the Baroness does not have that crazy of a figure as the figure that they gave her for the Shojo figure.
I guess, Rick, yeah, this will stay. I mean, in my Optimus Prime display, you're going to look at Duck Camo Convoy first. But, I mean, this would stand out as well. I just don't think it's... I wouldn't be embarrassed to have this in my collection. I mean, his player
It's not
stuff
about being
is a level above this, I'd say.
It's not about being embarrassed. It's about what does that say about your collection and the brand overall, to say, oh yeah, that's a Transformer. Is that a proper representation of the brand? And I'm not a conservative guy, but I want to ask the question: is this too far? Is this akin to KISS players? And is it taking the brand in a direction that it doesn't necessarily need to go in? Because they're robot characters and not human characters.
I don't think it's going to take it a direction at all. I think it's going to be a niche collectible that some people get and some people don't. And the people who do get it love it. And the people who don't kind of sort of judge them. And everyone else who says it just looks at it and says, ooh, that's a nice statue of some lady kind of sort of dressed like Optimus Prime, I guess. All right, whatever. And they move on with it. I don't think it's going to be like a brand direction or anything like that. I think it's just, especially since the Shojo statue line has been around, I keep saying forever, but I'm going to guess it's probably been around over 10 years at least. It's got to be at least over 10 years old. And they just make figures from a brand for a while and then they stop. And they just keep on making more statues. They visit Transformers Land, they make a few, and they move on. Now, it's probably going to be like 6. They made a lot of ponies, too. But...
how many G.I. Joes have they made?
I think it's just 3. I think it's just... I want to say it's just Lady J, Scarlet, and Baroness.
I think it's Lady J, Scarlet, Baroness, and I think they made Storm Shadow and Snake Eye versions, too, right?
Oh, yeah. They did... because they both had, there's been women who've taken those titles for both of them, right? I know there is for Storm Shadow at least.
For Snake Eyes, I don't know if it was ever for Storm Shadow.
Did they not do the Storm Shadow? Anyway, it's been around a long time. I don't think it should be, it's not like the G.I. Joe. It's not like the G.I. Joe statues, which came out quite a while ago, changed the direction of G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe is a dead brand.
There's a direction for G.I. Joe?
There is now. It's a new thing, though. It's a surprise. Keep making classified figures have no fiction.
So.
But I think it's interesting, and I don't know. I feel like some licenses are a little more of a misstep than the Shojo. Like the Super 7 stuff, right? Like Super 7 cranked out 3 waves of their Ultimates that people got excited for, and then only have actually produced one of them and disappointed the hell out of people, right? And it's like, those are going to be around for a while. There's going to be years of Super 7 Ultimate Transformers, even if they just do the 3 waves that they promised and they don't do another one. And they're a bummer.
That is an excellent point in a relational thing to say, because those are, if anything's damaging, it's those, because they're just bad. It's bad product.
But they are, I would say they're better representations of the characters.
Compared to what?
The Shojo.
Mashed potato statues?
I just don't understand the hate around those characters.
They're not nice.
Far more people will buy those Super 7 things and be disappointed, like just angry that they bought them and have no recourse other than to feel angry. I don't know many people that are going to be angry that actually buy, Lady Prime here. Right. They're going to be like, yeah,
you're getting exactly
awesome.
You're with the Bushido stuff, like you're getting exactly what you like are, like it's exactly what you think it is.
The bummer about the Super 7 versus the Bushido is the Bushido statues seem to just be par for the course, right? Like they've been putting out nice statues forever of pretty anime girl versions of various characters, and these just seem to be more of them. Optimus is good and well made. No one's complained about it yet. The bummer with the Super 7 is like the Super 7 Ultimates line was pretty decently received. People were talking relatively positively about it. Then the Transformers came around. It was just like, oh, red's better. Shoot. It's like they kind of.
Well, the Super 7, like it seems like it's been on pretty big clearance too, right?
It has, yeah. It got as cheap as $20 a figure over the holidays.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like circling back to the Robosen line. It seems like that Optimus Prime was like pretty well received overall, right? Like I haven't really seen a lot of reviews of the trailer, but it seems like the Optimus Prime that people are happy with it. And so like that to me is kind of like where you talk about it being damaging to a brand is if they didn't deliver like what you're expecting.
I have a theory about that though.
Here's my 2 cents on the product itself, the Robosen, the guy thing. I played with it for about 15 minutes, and then I put it on a shelf. $700 well spent. I don't know.
And that's the destiny of that figure, though, is that it just has a very short usage time. Now, is that one programmable? Can you make it do new things? Okay, so you could.
I hope not.
New.
Oh, new.
Again, that's again another whole community of people like hackers. Not hackers, but like people that want to spend their time making it do crazy stuff. That's a whole community as well. None of us do that. I haven't touched it as far as that goes.
Because that's how they advertise the non-transformer, non-transforming Robosen figures. They advertise them as programming toys for children. You buy it for your, preteen or teenager, and you're like, learn how to program it to do different things. Program it to do your stupid Fortnite dances. And the kid's like, yay, I did it. And it's a learning opportunity for them. That's how they advertise those. So I'm imagining there is value, but it's value we probably wouldn't get. It's just like all those folks who buy really nice transforming action figures and they're happy that they came in robot mode so they never have to transform it. That's value they never actually get to play with. That someone like Rob, who authentically loves transforming figures, gets every dime of that transformation value.
I love the figures, but I have arthritis. It hurts my hands to play with them.
I get that. That's why I've kind of pivoted a little bit towards getting more Hasbro stuff because it's still fun to play with. Whereas the Masterpiece and third-party stuff is not as fun as it used to be.
Oh, man. Third party, just, 20 minutes after that, and I need an Advil. Just because my hands are killing me.
One-step changers will visit us at the old folks' homes. Have to get us some one-step changers. Crash combiners.
Gravity bots.
It'll be great. We'll be so happy.
So Ron was bringing up about the warehouse sale. Did any of you guys partake?
Yeah, they had B127 up for grabs. I got a few of those.
No,
I did not.
I mean, I had everything already.
Right.
Honestly, if 35% off clearance isn't enough to win me over on something I didn't want the first time, I need more.
I mean, if they had sweeps on sale, then, sign me up.
They did.
I looked at it.
They do. The sweep is there.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's sold out.
What's it
now,
at?
Get it, right?
I just looked on there. Sweeps are sold out.
Oh. Thank God.
So
I almost bought a bunch of classified. That's the thing that almost got me with the warehouse sale. Was I looked at it and was like, man, I have not bought like any of the generic Cobra Troopers, and this would be a chance to get those for 35% off. I didn't do it though.
I was kind of surprised. They actually have some newer figures on there too.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lucas promised me a short show tonight because I'm an old man and I have to wake up early and make breakfast for my kids on Eastern Standard Time.
You don't have to. You can just like throw some cereal their way and be like, "There you go, kid."
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, exactly.
Breakfast
Yeah, I
of
just have a
champions.
case of Pop-Tarts that I just tell my kids, like, "There you go, take what you want."
Yeah, no, we go out in the morning, we collect the eggs. We do it right.
The whole thing. There you go.
That sounds like a fun family activity that you should be allowed to get your sleep for.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't even razz you about that. It sounds way too cute and quaint.
See, there you go, Paul. Paul said that we could not do an hour-long show, but
Well, yeah, because we
Rick
talked
needs
about
his viewers.
Robosen and it's not that interesting.
Well,
Well, there you go.
do
See,
much
that's all I gotta
talking.
do.
Well, this is the dream team right here. I mean, when Rob's on, it's just a snore fest, and don't even get me started with Peter.
Right. Exactly.
No, I think we had decent coverage. And it's just like there's not a whole lot to say about Robosen because it doesn't do that much. Again, for us, like if we were people who wanted to program them, it does a hell of a lot. But for us, it doesn't do that much. And the Shojo statues, we talked about them a little bit, and they do absolutely nothing. They're just
So
statues.
I think it's safe to say that Robosen will not be sending us any product to review anytime soon.
Probably not.
Hey, I would try to program the thing.
Well, they don't need to. I already got them.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
That's true. The ones they would have to send it to is me and Lucas. I would try to program the damn thing because I have like 20-year-old programming knowledge that I don't use. It'd be great. I'd probably end up breaking it. Fantastic.
Well, I think they make it pretty simple. Like it's, visually programming it. You can probably go as deep as you want.
Yeah, they make it safe for like a kid to do, so I can probably still break it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thanks to everyone in the chat. I do want to mention book club this week is going to be The Great Transformer War, Chapter 1 to Chapter 3, Enter the Headmasters. So if you want to join the discussion on that, it's Sunday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central on the TFTalk.net Discord. And thank you to everyone in the chat that participated. Thanks to Zaldron. Thanks to N10Z Guy. Thanks to Catherine. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to Ron.
I still have not been on a show with Catherine.
I gotta work on that. Y'all should check out Transformers the manga if you never read it, by the way. That's some straight vintage nonsense. It's pretty enjoyable.
That's another thing I have, and it's just sitting there waiting for 10 years from now.
Read it. It's something.
Yeah,
I don't
I'll
want to
get on
say
that as
good
soon
or
as my
bad.
kids get
It's
into
just
college.
something. There you go.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
Oh, well, should say